Hey everyone, my name is Kathy Villafane and I'm with A Plus Realty Group. And today I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Krystal Hart. She is the owner of Sparrow Communications. Welcome, Krystal.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. And the main purpose of this meeting is to talk about the Census 2020.
Yes.
Yes. Now, you have been chosen to spearhead this whole Census 2020 efforts. And we have a lot of questions still. And
Mhm.
people just are not sure about the census. So
Right.
can you explain what exactly is the census?
Yeah, so the census is pretty much a population count done every 10 years. It is mandated by the US Constitution, so it's something that's always been done to understand how our communities are growing, where people are, what is happening in our community. So it's just a simple count to know where people are, where the growth is happening, and that way the federal government and local municipalities can plan accordingly. The government, for example, has 1.2 trillion, that's with the T, trillion dollars that it will give out over the next 10 years for things such as COVID relief, roads, transportation, and other services. So that's what the census is. And, it's very important so that we can get our fair share of those funds.
Now, one thing that you said that really stood out was the growth. We've had a lot of growth in our community. So, for people to understand what you just said, how can you make it personable for our community and the citizens in our community, especially with all the growth that is happening in Liberty County?
Yeah, so when I think about Liberty County, Georgia, two things come to mind. One, there's just growth, like you said, in general. There's people moving in, there's homes being built, there's home buyers coming in and locating and choosing Liberty County as a home. So to be able to count those individuals means that we will have the funding to take care of them, whether it's roads, whether it's planning for schools, new schools to be built. In the 2010 census, there was an undercount of children 5 and under. So some communities did not properly plan for schools to be built and pre-K services and things like that. So that's some of the big things that affect day-to-day life. But one of the things that excite people the most when I talk about growth is retail. So retail and entertainment. Whenever a business is looking to locate to a community, they check census data first to see how many people are there, what are the ages, what's the income levels, to decide if their business is a good fit for their community. So on a personal level, it's great for those type of things, healthcare, transportation, education, but even on a pleasure level or entertainment level, quality of life, it's very good for recreation and business and entertainment. And then on another thing that makes our community special is the military. So in the past, the military was not counted in the community. They were counted on their home of record. But a lot of our leaders got together after 2010 census and say, hey, that's not fair. We take care of these families. They are here. We need funding to support them. So the rules have changed. If you have been stationed at Fort Stewart at least 9 months, then you will be counted with Liberty County numbers. That's whether you live on post, off post, or you're deployed. You'll be counted. Well, in Liberty County, if that's where your home is. Some people get anxious when I say that because they say, well, what about the other counties? We have soldiers who live there. They will be counted in your county. But if they live in Liberty County and they're affiliated with Fort Stewart, then they will be counted with Liberty
That's great to know. And that's great to have them counted and included because they are part of our community. So
County.
now
Right.
what is our response rate with the census here in Liberty County?
So right now in Liberty County, our response rate is 53.1%. So we're in a fairly good place. The goal is for every community to be at least 51% counted by the time the census workers go door to door for what is called the non-response follow-up period. So the non-response follow-up period is usually a 2-month period where census workers go door to door, knock on your doors, help you complete the census if you haven't done so already, and it just catches people who did not do it on their own. With COVID, that has been pushed back and pushed back. It was supposed to happen in June. Now it's starting in August. So workers will come door to door in August, and they're only doing it for 1 month now, as opposed to 2 months. So haven't gotten word on what's the reasoning. My guess would be COVID. They want to restrict in-person contact. But so now we have about a month for those census workers to go door to door and count people who did not fill the census out on their own. So that's why we're really wanting people to go online. It takes about 5 minutes. www.my2020census.gov. I've done it with my kids because they were excited to be counted for the first time. So even with helping them through their 6 and 7, it took us about 5 minutes to respond for a family of 4.
Yes, and I also had my adult daughters sit next to my husband and I as we completed it because we really enjoy the census because my husband loves doing our family research and history. So we really enjoy the census because of that. And it is something that you should involve your family with when you're completing it out. And like you said, it only takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So now tell me, what are some of your concerns you think people you have in our community are having completing it?
The first and foremost is fear of the online portal, thinking
Okay.
that they will be too difficult, they can't do it. But if you have a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, anything, you're able to complete the census. Our local public library has been gracious enough to set aside some computers and individuals to help with those who are completing the census. We also have some around municipalities who have someone, like I know the city of Walthamville. If you go to their city hall, they'll assist you one at a time with completing the census. And they also have some goodies to give out for anyone who completes the census. And I think Riceboro is doing the same. So that is, I think, is the first part. There's been a barrier of people being afraid to try the online portion. And then the second thing I've heard has been suspicion of the government and privacy concerns. But I tell people this is some of the most protected data. It's protected for 72 years. No one can see the data that has been submitted, know where you are. There's no immigration questions asked, anything of that nature. So the data is protected. No one can see it after the set, not even federal agencies. They cannot share the information outside of the U.S. Census Bureau about specifics on the forms. So it's very protected. There's even a prison sentence and a huge fine that goes along with anyone who lets out the information. So it's secure. And if you're concerned about privacy, I tell them Google and Facebook probably knows more than the census does. So if you use a device, Google, Facebook, or any type of online platform, they have more details on you than the census will ask. So just please fill it out.
Okay, great. That's a great point. How has COVID-19 affected your outreach efforts?
I'll say with COVID, it has been a roller coaster ride. We had a robust, in-person, face-to-face plan laid out. I had close to 60 volunteers ready to go to the 7 municipalities. And then right when we were amping up, I think the period to complete the census, we'll start the census began on March 12th. And I believe it's like March 17th when everything shut down.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of shift our focus to online, doing things such as Zoom calls, a lot of online social media posts and things of that nature, email marketing to get the word out. And we've been, just sticking to that. And we've seen internet responses are higher than we expected, and the paper responses, of course, are down because the paper ballots haven't gone out yet. Some should start being received, but with the issues with the Postal Service, paper ballots are slow to go out, and now we have a shorter window for in-person. So we're just really focusing on virtual things we can do to get the word out. We have yard signs throughout the community. If anyone wants a yard sign, I can give that to them. We've been asking businesses to put up marquee signs, anything, letting people know about the census. It's going to be important, and it's going to take a community effort.
Now, do you think that people are really seeing and hearing and getting the message? Because I know that I'm involved in a lot of things that I'm involved in, you're involved in, and I just really am doing this because of the importance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want you to go into a little bit more. Why is it so important? I would just want people to really understand whether they live here as their permanent residents, like you said, with the military, how important it is for them to fill it out as well. Just elaborate a little bit on that for me.
When it comes to the importance, I tell people there's three reasons. There's money, power, and data that we need for the census. So the money portion is, like I said, there's $1.2 billion in federal funding that will be given out to communities based on the count. So if you don't have the people, the money will not come. We are estimating that it equates to about $3,600 per person per year for 10 years. So a lot of people say, does that mean I get a check, a $3,000 check every year? No, but what it means is that the different agencies that service you, so the hospitals, your local governments, grant programs, school programs, food programs, all of these programs will receive that money, and that way you won't have to pay it out. So your fees won't be as high, your taxes won't be as high, and you'll also be able to benefit from the money that will come in when businesses relocate here. So money is the first reason why it's important. The second reason is power. And by power, I mean political representation, because you can lose or gain seats on the federal level and Congress and for the census based on your census number. So those districts are drawn based on population. The same thing for your local government and your state government. You can gain or lose people in your districts, and it can be reconfigured. So we want people to get the right political representation. So we want them to fill it out so that we'll know where they are. And then the third reason with the data, numbers talk. People look at numbers, even builders, with real estate, builders look at the numbers and the growth patterns to know where to put their next development, what it needs, how, what type of development needs to be. The same thing for local government. They look at the data to figure out sewage, fire services plans, emergency services plans, and things such as that. So the data is important for your personal and your quality of life as well.
Okay, so now there's money, power, and data. So a lot of people might say, you know what? I don't deal with government. I don't trust the government, so that doesn't apply to me. Data, I'm not opening up a business and things like that, and I don't care about the real estate. That doesn't apply to me. Mm-hmm. However, money always gets people.
Money always talks.
Money always talks. So the people that really feel like, okay, the power and the data they don't care about, emphasize a little bit more on how the money can affect them. Okay, say if they don't have real estate, they don't care about the taxes, but they do have kids in the school systems. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that would definitely get their attention.
Yeah. So even with the money, I'll talk even more about even with COVID, whenever there's hurricane relief or natural disasters or things such as COVID taking place, federal dollars, FEMA sends money to help with those situations. So based on our numbers, say we had a epicenter and we became a hot spot, and it only says we have 60,000 residents in Liberty County, but it's really 100,000. You may be one of those 40,000 that can't get the service that you need because the money wasn't sent, because you weren't counted. The same thing when it comes to, like you said, property taxes. Even if I don't own a home and I don't care about reduced property taxes, being able to live in a neighborhood and having communities that are safe and quality and accessible to things such as food. There was at one point where Hinesville was considered a food desert. We didn't have enough restaurants. We didn't have enough grocery stores. And because of census data and because of our community leaders taking data and saying, hey, Hinesville is larger than what the census says. Come give us a chance. Now we've experienced growth that wouldn't happen. So they're all connected. Even if you don't care about one or the other, they all connect. And I just encourage people to think about that when they say it doesn't affect me, it isn't impacting me. I tell them there are a lot of things that you can't see that are in the works, but you benefit from them. And if they were taken away, you will feel it.
Okay. You know what? I think now this will definitely get their attention. So what is the deadline?
So the deadline is now September 30th. September 30th will be the last day and the last chance to be counted in this decade. So anyone who wants to be counted, anybody who knows that they need to be counted to get access to the money, power, and data that we deserve, needs to make sure that they fill out the census online before September 30th. Something I also encourage people to do, or why I say fill it out online, is because if you don't, someone will come knocking on your door. So census workers will come knocking on the door of homes who have not completed the census and assist them with completing it on a tablet, or if you have a paper copy, they will assist you and ask you to please return that paper copy. And they will come several times. So if you don't want someone to knock on your door, you don't want to interact with a person because of health concerns and social distancing, then it's very important to fill it out online. This is the first time in history you've been able to fill it out online. Also, you can call in and do it over the phone. And the number for that is 1-844-330-2020. So you can call in. I think they have like over 21 languages that you can choose from to fill it out. To give your response on the phone. Of course, you can fill it out online, which is what we would want people to do so we can get those responses quickly. And then if not, someone will come knocking on your door.
Okay. And you said the deadline is now September 30th. So that deadline has actually changed because it was originally in October. Is that correct?
Right. So before COVID, it was July 31st because the count is really given to the president in October so that we can get the political representation in the budget aligned. But because of COVID, they said, okay, we're going to do October 31st. And we're like, ooh, we have a little bit of time. We can kind of work it. And then now this week they said, oh, never mind. It's September 30th. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So we're encouraging people. We don't know if that deadline may change again. So just go ahead and get it filled out now instead of later so that we can get counted.
And when you say get counted, who all can be counted? Like what age?
Good question. That is a good question.
Okay.
Everyone with a birth date, a name, and a pulse.
Okay. You're breathing.
So I tell individuals that if they are living in your home, even if they are a guest and they don't have a home and they're just staying with you temporarily, so roommates, if you're in college, you're counted where your dorm is and where you're staying. At that point, you're not counted in your parents' home. If you have a roommate, like I said, they're counted in your home. If someone is staying with you and they have nowhere else to go, they're counted as part of your home. So you will count whoever is in the home, living in the home, when you complete the census. Like I said, you just need a name and a birth date, and of course, we hope they're breathing when you give the count. And we stress that because in the past, 0 to 5 was undercounted. Some people, when they surveyed and asked why that was, some people said, I just didn't consider them as a person that needed to be counted. I know, right? Some people said, well, they live with a parent. I'm co-parenting. I thought the other parent filled it out. Some people would say, I'm just a guardian. I didn't realize. I thought it was only family in the home. But no, if they're in the home, we want them counted.
Okay, so that's good. So now if they have any questions, they can call the 1-844-330-2020 number?
Yes.
Okay, and the website is www.my2020census.gov, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's where they go to fill out the census as well.
Yes, that's where they fill out the census. And if you have any questions, a lot of the main questions are on there as well.
Well, Krystal, thank you so much. You are doing a fantastic job with this push. Despite of COVID-19, our numbers are looking pretty good, but we want everyone to be counted.
Yes.
Krystal Hart, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope this makes a difference because it is so important that everyone does get counted.
Well, thank you for having me and for spreading the word. And yes, we hope that everyone who watches this, make sure that you get counted. I said, make sure you fill it out first, but then go tell 10 people. Make sure that they understand the importance. Make sure that they have filled it out. If they need a census, they can call that number. Like I said, in Liberty County, we have several municipalities in our libraries willing to assist individuals. So whatever you need to do to get counted, please do so.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and you have a great evening.
Same to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.